Okay guys, I've got a little SEO quickie for you here. This is for how we would look at building a page with SEO Copilot. Well, first off, I would take a look at what the query intent, the primary query intent is, and the secondary query intent is. And so it looks like for this page, for Manhattan Cruise Terminal Parking, the primary query intent is, well, first off, the main entity is this New York Cruise. And I also noticed here in RankBrain, RankBrain is another good one to look at because this is a vectorization of all the words. The scored the highest is the words that show up at the topmost. Scored the lowest down here is the words that score the worst, vector the worst towards position number 100, page number 100. This is what scores towards that direction. I want to be more along some of the interesting words that show up here ignore the stop words. Although you can include them to make sentences, however. But I'm looking at, okay, apparently for the Manhattan Cruise Terminal Parking, cruise, okay, well that's obvious. Port, terminal. Okay, these are some words that score very highly. Port, terminal. This is one way of looking at finding the main query intent, the primary query intent. So, okay, port, terminal, and this is giving me ideas for how to generate the content, because these are the words we want to put in the naming spots, and the words we put in the naming spots, again, which is the URL, title, meta description, H1 at the top, and the first 100 words, is going to define what the rest of the article content should be. Now, let's look at this. So first off, it's the New York Cruise. Notice they say the word port twice, porters and port. I don't know what that means, but this is clearly the page where you can get the general information. And general information, obviously, info here is low, actually. So no, not that one. That's not one of the ones that we're looking at. And this is here largely because they are the main entity. So we can kind of ignore this one, but we can see, okay, it says port, all right. This is the second one after it. Okay, so how many times do they say port? Not at all. It might not be a slam dunk, right? Based on what the words are here. It might be like, oh, this could have been a good one. But they don't say it. But they do say, I believe, terminal. They say terminal a lot. Okay. So, but that's, again, one of the main PMQs. Okay, fine. Gotcha. So this is kind of an anomaly. This is like what the main query intent here is, parking for Manhattan Cruise Terminal as low as this. So some kind of discounted option. Okay, well, price. Where does price show up? 3, not a big idea. Low. Where does low show up? Number 1 for low. Doesn't show up. Okay. That's still not the one. Got to keep searching. But some kind of percentage off maybe could be it. Let's go up here. Where is it? Off is 5. Okay, so some kind of 25% off, some kind of deal of a percent off is definitely possibly part of what we're looking at here. It skews, it vectors towards yes. Okay, so this might be the right angle here. And the word port might be the right angle. Okay. So this one here, port, shows up a ton of times. And this is a guide, right? This is offering just offers. It's like, this is obviously you would hire these people, drive in, here's the terminal, drop off. Oh, also drop off could be important here too. Terminal, gotcha, rain, sleet, or snow. Here's the benefits of white glove service. It's a crappy old page, but does have this thing to do here. Has a video embedded, has some crappy pictures. Okay, fine. These guys also, the style of the article, the design of it will also determine the content, right? These guys talk about port, not at all. They talk about off, not at all. This is just, but it is definitely a list. It's a list of different people offering different services with the star ratings, although we didn't have any star ratings on the top ranker here. They just talked about different options of dropping you off. But this one here, you can see for Manhattan Cruise Parking, they want a list. They want a list of different ones. So what could you do if you're like, well, Josh, I don't want a list. I want to just offer my own one. Well, fine, you can, but you might not have as much ranking juice, as it won't be optimal compared to what clearly they want is some kind of listing in various places. Although this one, the winner is this guy other than the main entity. So one angle could be percentage off, we're better. Talk about port a lot because this talks about port a lot, and this port was really, really high up here. Port and terminal was really high. And then also you could do a guide that talks about the various things you should do. This is giving you options in our review style page, which you can do. But they do also have the word off once in it. And they talk about port a lot. See that how that angle is stressed here? The word port. The official port, the port is the angle there. And it's a guide, for example, on Manhattan Cruise Terminal parking, cruise port tips. And last, this one here has this one, kind of the same kind of options. And this one here has also amenities as well. You really got to kind of look at, this one has port, says port a lot, as you can see, 18, and says off, not at all. It doesn't have the off aspect at all. Or it does say drop off once. So those are the clues I see when I look at it. It looks like for this one, we want to say the word port a lot. We want to talk about the port, whatever that is. I don't even know what it is. And we want to talk about maybe 25% off or drop off is what we want to talk about. And you could go with your own, or you could go with a list. It seems to want a list. So if you want a list, you could go in here into content. The first thing we would do is try to win the featured snippet. So we'd come in here and we'd add that. Then we would want to have the heading. Now we want the QIEMQ primary and secondary options that are right for you. So here I might manually make this up. I could try to see how the this one does, the query intent finder, parking options for the Manhattan Cruise Terminal, find parking at Manhattan Cruise Terminal. It's more about the options, it seems to me. So we could go with that one. This is not the EMQ, so that's fine. It's not, it won't get too spammy here. We do need this though as well. And if you're like, I have no idea what it is, I want the AI to do it. Port information. You can trigger the AI sometimes to tell you what you want by just writing a prompt and then clicking the up score or the down score button. And it might start getting wordy and filling in information. You might have to give it more than just 2 words. Let's see. Here we go. So it's like, here it is. Boom. Fine. Replace. And it's writing from an expert angle. And some people get annoyed at that, but that's the point, right? We want it to write from an expert angle. That's what they want to rank. They want to rank the opinions of an expert. They don't want to rank the opinions of your brand unless they know you're an expert. And then one great way to tell the AI you're an expert is by saying, I'm an expert. So it says, let me just see. I can remember the parking options for your Manhattan Cruise. As soon as permission to find the parking right in the right pier, the cost of parking terminals in Manhattan can vary, so it's important to book ahead for any discount offers available. So we're already getting discount offers available. If you're driving to the port, so it is a port. And so I didn't need to know this as an SEO. I could have also clicked the high quality article and just saw what it came up with as well. So you can piecemeal this together, or I could have clicked the high quality article and then built off of that as a base. That might have been the more easy way. But you can jam the article together. It's not that difficult by using these features here. So here I can also use these features because I did this. I can go, I want this, I want this, I want this, and I want this, write it. And you can mix and match, and you can pick and choose what content you want. It's much faster than writing it yourself, and it's much faster than researching this, so I know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't need to know at all what I'm talking about here. Boom, 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 and boom. I can read what this is later and decide, what I think I want to do. But so terminal/port. Can I put port in there? I think I can do that. Sure. And get X% off when you book with us. So we could try doing something like that because the whole off word was being used, and Google will get confused between the two. I don't know what you can allow off. So you're going to have to decide, what that's going to be, for example. So I can do all of those, and then I can go here. I can go here for the product review AI, provide quantitative measurements, explain what it sets apart from its competitors, cover comparable products, discuss the benefits, identify key decision-making factors could be good as well. And yeah, I'll do those ones. So this is going to really get you a good high heat score. Okay, so good. So we have add, and add. Okay. So we have all really good kinds of information here that should be very helpful to people. Hopefully it's all true. The high quality article does check Google for recent content. So I could have started with that. You're going to have to sanity check it. There's no other AI really that's going to really do good sanity checking. So you're going to kind of have to read this and sanity check it. Now, I also need to have a rough idea now of how long it should be. So I'm way longer than it needs to be, right? What is the heat score now? Okay, so it's got a good heat score, but it still thinks it's not insightful enough beyond the obvious. But that's the only 6 there is. So that's not bad. That's not bad. It wants it to be a bit more insightful. So that's fine. Good. Let's see how many keywords we have in here. Probably too much. Yeah, way too many. Okay, so now let's check to see what it thinks of the H1 and the spam score. Okay. So that's a weird average. I don't see how it could be 6.4 to 5. Obviously that needs to be adjusted. The spam score is still a little wonky, but the H1 is relevant and speaks directly to the query intent by providing information about parking options for the Manhattan Crew terminal port. It also offers an incentive to get blah off. This promises a solution to the user's query. However, it fails to specify the exact percentage off or any specific details. Okay, that's why I gave it a low score. It's somewhat disingenuous. It also might give off a promotional rather than informational vibe. And remember that percent off offer might change in validity. Also, giving off too much of a promotional offer might lead the user to believe it's just an ad. Additionally, adding the percentage off could be seen as spammy and promotional. Okay, fine. It looks like everyone's spammy and promotional in their thing. That's why it's so high. And okay. So you could decide, I gave it a low score because I put X percent off. And then from here, you would have to edit it and decide, what is good here. The headings, they have 7 on average headings. Okay, so we can add in an H2 here. And we can say pro tips on parking for the Manhattan Cruise Terminal port. I don't know if that's still appropriate, but, well, first off, we don't need all this. These expert tips will help you find the best parking for the port and ensure you have a great cruise. Let's see if any of the rest of these tips are useful. Okay, so if you're like, this is not quite worded the way I want it to be worded, one trick you can do is, again, do this, highlight both these sentences and see if it'll reword it for you. Here we go. So then take this, and now it's telling you what to do. So close, and then highlight it, copy, paste it, and put it in here. Paste that here, boom. You can get it to work like Jasper or other writers that have a prompting system. You just highlight it. These are prompts that will write it for you. This will stuff and be more verbose and add more keywords in. This will limit it down and have better average predictability writing and be a little bit more, probably better writing. Okay, so I'm going to do a trick. I'm going to take this, I'm going to paste that here, then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get this to be rewritten so it gets the context. So sadly it didn't, so I'm going to upscore this. Maybe it'll be more verbose. It might write it for you. I've gotten it to do it pretty much. I had to rewrite very little. And then take this and then downscore it. I'll just take it from here. So you can keep doing those. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There's various little parts here that can do bits for you. I could have just done the high quality article. It might have worked. No AI is going to be making something with images in it. You're gonna have to stuff images and different things in yourself, and you're gonna have to stuff in the particular price and stuff yourself. The exercise here is not, how can AI do the whole thing? For 60% of pages, it can do 60% of the time, all the stuff you need. If you need to make a more special page like this, where you're going to put in prices and you have links to that, we have to do that manually, right? And then that's going to change the whole way you're doing the whole page. So it can upscore or downscore, write some of it for you. Your writer can do some of this for you. Your research can do some of this for you. I still have way more information than I need, so I can actually get rid of all this anyway. Get rid of this, get rid of this. Maybe that might be closer to what we want. Now, so it's in the ballpark of what we want for all the numbers. But the other thing you need to keep in mind is whether or not it's even in the ballpark for these numbers or not. You need to check the heat score again, check the spam score, and see if it thinks it's even a good article. You would use an actual percentage off. Your offer would be in here somewhere for that percentage off. It's more important that you don't have sixes. You have a 6 here, 6 here. It's not substantial enough, right? So the AI might not be able to generate the content that is expert enough because all of the corpus that it has access to is just crappy thin pages, except for rare people who provide a good page. So the AI, again, might not be enough of a subject matter expert in that particular thing. And again, there's nothing we can really do about that. I could write a very much smarter AI that checks Google and does stuff, but it's still going to use its own corpus for writing. And even if you get it to rewrite the competitor's article, which is supposedly supposed to be really high quality, which it's not. It's just a list like I was doing, quite frankly, and it's not that high quality at all. It's just this is the angle that they like, right? So again, the AI is never going to be able to do 100% of the articles 100% of the time. We're going to try to make that percentage as high as possible, but it's never going to be able to do it. But you can, instead of just clicking high quality article, which will get some of this right some of the time, you can also mix and match with this and the stuff that's in product review and helpful content as well, and the featured snippet. That's what I did here for the linking article that I showed you, and I'm ranking number 6. So it can be done. Mind you, it's LinkedIn, so it's a nice big juicy domain, but still it can be done. And it can work very, very well. You're going to have to use your imagination and see, okay, I should go back and click this and see what it generates for me and see if this is what we want to do. And or click this in the high quality article and see what it gives you to begin with and build from there. It's going to get you 80% of the way there. And then you're just going to have to add some extra things by looking at these guys and seeing what the query intent is. I could also do this, by the way. Instead of starting with the featured snippet, I could have highlighted this and said, okay, upscore this, get verbose on this. And now it's going to rewrite this. I could have done it from that perspective and not have used these things. I've prompted it, okay, give me the pro tips on parking here. And now it's going to give me that paragraph of content that might actually be more useful. That would help out. This is probably going to now shoot this way up and shoot this way up, yeah. But the heat score might get better if I do that. It's a little bit better. Yeah, look, it's a little bit better. There's not as many 6s. Let me just say here, book with us today, 25% off. Let's see what happens if I do the spam score on this. The spam score is 3 out of 5. The H1 effectively addresses the query intent by providing relevant information on parking hours and cruise terminal. It also includes a specific incentive for 25% off. However, offering a specific discount may give off too much of a promotional vibe and could be seen as spammy or overly sales-oriented. That's fine. So you can ignore this. You can ignore the write-up as to why I gave it the score. Furthermore, this offer might change in validity and might mislead the user. Promising a discount, especially without an expiration date, appears heavily promotional. You could also put a date in it. So it said put a date in it. Fine. So we're in February 2024. Great. Then it will probably like that a little bit better. So it's less about the score. It's more about what this AI says. So read what it says, and we're going to adjust the scoring for the future. Okay, so that's kind of the angle I would go with and how I would do it for this particular page. Use the AI to build. Use the high quality article to start. Use the BERT information in the reports to start for what the angle, the primary and secondary angle should be. Look at the competitors to corroborate what the primary and secondary angle should be. Use that to guide the rest of the article, and use the content, use the outline to give you some ideas, use the content to give you ideas, and or the high quality article to give you ideas, or all of the above. And then get that building you up as far as possible. There's not gem of pro tips for parking as many online, as you can see by the heat score. Mine was in like high 80s, 90s for the link building article. This is not that high. It still has 6s all over the place. Don't have 6s in your heat score. That is, and don't have that high of a spam score for the body. That is one way to tell you that you're not hitting the query intent, primary or secondary query intent. But if you know for a fact you are hitting the primary and secondary query intent and you still have high spam scores, ignore them. It's more about what it says than the score per se right now. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Rewind it and listen to it again if it doesn't, and we'll see you guys soon.